everybody, Beaton here, and welcome back to another past paper practice session. In this video, we will be looking at some computation questions from the past papers. So let's head straight into it. So the first question says, Mr. Adams invested $5,000 at a credit union and received $5,810 inclusive simple interest after 3 years. Determine the simple interest received. This question goes for 1 mark. So to find the simple interest received, so the simple interest earned actually, because he invested it. So remember, simple interest, simply put, is the extra money that you earn after you invest something. So the simple interest would simply be $5,810 subtract 5,000. And this will simply be 810. So the simple interest received was 810. So the next part of the question says, we went for 1 mark, so you don't need to, 1 mark indicates that there's nothing much to it. You just need to straightforward. So the next part says the annual interest rate paid by the credit union. So we're talking about rate and annual rate. So annual means yearly. So here we have to incorporate the simple interest formula to find the rate. So we know the simple interest formula would be simple interest is equal to PRT over 100. So we just put in all the values that we know. So we know that the simple interest would be 810. So this would be 810 is equal to P, the principal money invested, would be 5,000 multiplied by, so it's the rate that we want to find. So rate multiplied by the time, which would be in years, in this case would be 3. And all of this would be divided by 100. So we can simplify this. So this 0 cancels with that 0 since everything is multiplying at the top. This 0 go with that 0. And now we have 50 times 3 would give us 150. So 810 is equal to 150 times R would be 150 R. So I'll take this up here. So to find the rate, it will simply be this 150 is multiplying the R, and we take it over to divide, so we'll have 810 divided by 150 is equal to the rate. So the rate would be equal to 5.4 degrees. So we can answer the question. Therefore, the annual interest rate paid by the credit union is 5.4%. And that is how we answer that question, 2 marks. So next question says, we want to determine the length of time it will take for Mr. Adams' investment to be doubled at the same rate of interest. So we want to know how long it will take for his investment to be doubled. So remember, he invested $5,000. And in order for this investment to be doubled, he must receive an interest or a simple interest of 5,000. That means his investment will be doubled. He will get back his 5,000 and also an interest of 5,000, because interest is the extra money that you earn. So to answer this question, it will be the simple interest, we use the formula, is equal to PRT, principal times rate times time, divided by 100. So we know that he invested 5,000, and for this to be doubled, the simple interest has to be 5,000. Because it's extra money that he will get back. So this will be 5,000 is equal to the principal, which is the money that he invested, which is 5,000, multiplied by the rate. So the rate is 5.4, multiplied by the time. We want to find the length of time. So this will be divided by 100. So this 0 cancels with that 0. This 0 cancels with that 0. So 50 times 5.4 would give us 270 multiplied by time would be T is equal to 5,000. So time would be equal to, so this 270 is multiplying When we take it over, we'll divide. So we'll have 5,000 divided by 270. Hence, time would be equal to 18.5185. So we can say time is equal to 18.5 years. So therefore, it will take Mr. Adams 18.5 years for his investment to be doubled. So for him to double his investment, it will take 18.5 years. Remember, he invested 5,000, and for this 5,000 to be doubled, that means he must get back the 5,000 plus another 5,000, which will be 10,000 in total. So investment will be doubled. So it will take 18.5 years. So let's carry on. The next question says, Jenny works at Sammy's restaurant and is paid according to the following table. So our basic wage, so Jenny's weekly wage agreement would be our basic wage, which is $600 plus $0.90 for every customer served. And this is the formula that they gave us to calculate that. So it says, in a week, Jenny serves N customer. Her weekly wage is WJ in dollars and is given by the formula. So determine Jenny's weekly wage if she served 230 customers. So her weekly wage, we just use the formula, would be 600 plus 0.90 multiplied by the number of customers that we serve would be 230. Hence, this will be 600 plus 0.90 times 230 will give us 207. So our weekly wage would be 807. So we can say, therefore, Jenny's weekly wage will be $807. All right, the next question says, in a good week, Jenny's wage is 1,000 or more. What is the least number of customers that Jenny must serve in order to have a good week? So in order for her to have a good week, we want to find how much customers she must serve. What is the least number of customers that she must serve? So the formula is given by 600 plus 0.90n. W is equal to 600 plus 0.90n. So we want to find n, which is the number of customers that she must serve to have a good week. So her wage would be 1,000, and that would be equal to 600 plus 0.90n. And we just want to solve for this n. So this is a simple equation that we have to solve. Algebra again. So this would be 1,000, and we take over this 600. So it's adding here, it becomes subtract. 600 would be equal to 0.90n. So this would be 400, and we subtract, we find the difference of the two. It's equal to 0.90n. So the 0.90 is multiplying. When you take it over, it will divide. So we'll have 400 divided by 0.90. That is equal to the number of customers that she must have. So 400 divided by 0.9, that would give us, n would be equal to 444.4. So the least number of customers that she must serve will be, remember, you cannot have a 0.4 person. So you must, so this will be, so we can say, therefore, she must serve at least, the emphasis in the word at least, 445 customers to have a good week. So remember, if we round this off according to how it is, 444 would not give us the 1,000. She would end up with 900 and something. So they want the least number of customers that she must serve. So we must round it up, although it's a 0.4, because we cannot serve a 0.4 person. So she must serve at least 445 customers. So the next part says, at the same restaurant, Shauna is paid a weekly wage of $270 plus 1.50 for each customer she serves. So she's paid a bit more for every customer. So if W underscore S is Shauna's weekly wage in dollars, write a formula for calculating Shauna's weekly wage when she serves M customers. So we see W underscore S would be the subject of the formula. So in this case, we see she is paid $270 plus 1.50 for every customer. And in this case, she serves M customers, so we multiply this by M. And that would be the formula that we use to represent Shauna's weekly wage. So this question says, in a certain week, Jenny and Shauna received the same wage for serving the same number of customers. How many customers did each serve? So this one here, we see that they serve the same number of customers. So the formula for Jenny, the number of the part in which number of customers will be the same. So we want to find how many customers each of them serve. So we know that for Jenny, her weekly wage is 600 plus 0.90N. So for Jenny, we know it's 600 plus 0.90N. And hence this should be equal to Shauna's wage, which is 270 plus 1.5. Now in this case, we know that the number of customers each of them serve is the same. So if this is N, here will also be N, because they serve the same number of customers. So to find that, we have to solve this equation here. Algebra once again. So we put all of the terms with numbers on one side and all of the terms with N on the other side. So we can have 600 subtract, we take over this will become subtract 270 is equal to 1.5N subtract 0.90N. So 600 subtract 270, that would give us 330, and that is equal to 1.5N subtract 0.9 would give us 0.6N. So to solve for the number of customers that each of them serve, it will be N, so the 0.6 is multiplying, we take it over to the divide, so we'll have 330 divided by 0.6. So N would be equal to 550. So we can say, therefore, they each served 550 customers. So we use some algebra to answer this question. We just equate Jenny's wage to Shauna's wage, and then we just solve for the number of customers. We just put them together and solve. And that is how we answer this question. So the next part of this here says, John bought a car for $65,000. The value of the car depreciates by 8% each year. How much will the car be worth after 2 years? So here we have to find depreciation. So let's say you're like me right now and you cannot remember the formula to find depreciation. So this is what you do. So remember, in depreciation, the value of the car is decreasing after each year. So since this is 2 years, we can simply calculate it after the first year and then calculate it after the second year. So for the first year, the car will be valued, so it's 8% is depreciating. So this will be 8 over 100 multiplied by 65,000. So this 0 cancels to that 0, this 0 cancels to that 0. And 8 times 650 will give us 5,020. So 8 times 650 would give us 5,200. So this is the value that will come off of the car. So in the first year, the car will be worth 65,000, subtract 5,200. That would give you 59,800. So this is the value of the car after the first year. So in the second year, the car will depreciate further, which will be 8 over 100 multiplied by the 59,800. So this zero cancels with that zero. This zero cancels with that zero. So 8 times 598 would give us 4,784. So this value now has to come off the car. So 59,800 subtract 4,784 would be equal to $55,016. So this would be the value of the car after 2 years. So therefore, the value of the car after 2 years is $55,016, and that will be the value of the car after 2 years. So we do not need the formula, you just need to calculate the depreciation after every year. So let's look at this last question. So this question says, the table below shows the result obtained by a student in our CSEC mathematics exam. The maximum mark for each paper is given in the third column of the table. So you have paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and we have the percentage obtained and the maximum mark. So determine as a percentage the student's final mark in the examination. So we need to find how much marks she gained in paper 1, paper 2, and paper 3. So let's see. So in paper 1, we saw that she received 55%, so it's 55 over 100 multiplied by 30. So this zero go with that zero. 55 times 3 will give us 165 divided by 10 will give us 16.5. So in paper 1, she received 16.5 out of 30, and that seems accurate since it's 55% of 30. So in paper 2, she received 60% of 50. So it's 60 over 100 multiplied by 50. So this zero go with that zero, this zero go with that zero, and 6 times 5 is 30. She received 30 marks in paper 2. And in paper 3, she received 80% of 20. So it's 80 over 100 multiplied by 20. So this zero go with that zero, this zero go with that zero. 8 times 2 is 16. So we received 16 marks in paper 2. So in total, we saw that she received, so our total marks will be 16.5 plus 30 plus 16. So this will give us 62.5. So we received 62.5 out of 100. So they want this as a percentage, so this would be, so since this went out of 100, we already know the percentage would be 62.5 since this entire thing went out of 100. So we can say, therefore, the student final mark as a percentage is 62.5. So this is our mark as a percentage. Because if we go and find 62.5 percentage out of 100, because the thing went out of 100, this is 62.5 over 100 multiplied by 100. This zero cancels with that zero, and this zero with that zero, and we just end up with the same thing. So there's no need to go through that headache. We know the answer is 62.5. And with that, this has brought me to the end of this video of consumer arithmetic. This is just the first one. I'll see you in the next video in which I'll be looking at some more questions. Until then, take care.